Hi YouTube. This is one thing I'm gonna start doing. I'm gonna start doing on and off movie reviews to various movies. And the one I'm gonna be talking about right now is actually on VHS. It was never released here on DVD in America. Now I know you can buy this on DVD in France called Les Grand Pardon 2. And apparently, like, Les Grand Pardon 1, I guess, never got a U.S. release. But I'm going to be talking about Les Grand Pardon 2, a.k.a. Day of Atonement. The main stars of this movie are Roger Hannon, Richard Berry, and Gerard Darman. But, of course, it's got they're all French actors, but it's got two American actors. A bunch of American actors, too, since it takes place in Miami. They got a bunch of American actors along with the French ones. Some of the famous American ones you see right there is Christopher Walken. That's his character on the cover right there. His character in the movie is Pasco Meisner. We got Jennifer Beals from Flashdance. And then another actress pretty famous here in America is Jill Clayburgh. I think she is actually dead nowadays. But this movie has a lot of actually pretty well-known people in it, besides the ones I mentioned. You've got Alexandre June Arcady. Now, I know you don't... Alexandre Jouan Arcady, that probably does not sound familiar to you. Well, nowadays he goes under the name Alexandre Aja, and he's directed the Hills Have Eyes remake... Mirrors, the new Piranha movie, and he actually acted in this movie, Day of Atonement, or Les Grand Pardon 2. Now, I know that's really strange, and you have him, and there's also a flashback at the beginning of the movie when they're, like, recounting the events of the first movie. You see when he's only, like, 2 years old. He doesn't even look like a boy when he's 2 years old. Alright, so, what this movie is pretty much just a mob movie, a mafia movie, a drug gang movie, pretty much. It's all about, well, in the opening cutscene, it's like this flashback to part 1, but there's this narrator saying it, you know. And the narrator's like, since this movie's made in 1992 and the guy was sentenced to prison for 10 years, the narration goes, in 1982, Raymond Batoon, head of a mob organization, guns down his enemy on the most sacred of Jewish holidays. I don't really know I don't know if it's Hanukkah or something else that they're talking about. God, I'm not Jewish, so I don't really know. But he turns himself into the police as his 3-year-old grandson Alexander watches him in bewilderment, and then that's when it sort of cuts off to when the Alexandre Aja, when his character is having his bar mitzvah. Well, he looks sort of like me. He's got like really big curly hair, and he just looks like me. I don't. Since I'm not Jewish, I don't really know too much about bar mitzvahs, but he's carrying around this big sort of trophy thing that I'm not really too sure what it is. And like people are like kissing handkerchiefs and like touching it, so I'm not really too sure what that means. So getting more into it, then all of a sudden we cut to this deli where this guy walks in with a shoebox, gives the shoebox to the owner of the deli. The deli owner carries it to the back room where there's this guy sorting money, and then he takes the shoebox, dumps it all out, but then one of the employees lets the police in there. The guy that was sorting the money gets shot, and he sort of like falls backwards and opens the refrigerator, which is just filled with a bunch of money, and the guy that gave the shoebox starts running away, but he gets caught by the police. And then we cut back to the bar mitzvah. The bar mitzvah is kind of funny. When they're having the bar mitzvah, this one guy steps on stage and starts singing this opera song. And during when he's singing the song, one of the guests at the bar mitzvah gets drunk. And he walks up on the stage, pushes the guy off. He's like, Maurice, "You daddy son of a bitch, you fucking stink," sort of like that. And then like Raymond Batoon, Maurice is the father of Alexandre Aja, and Raymond Batoon is Alexandre Aja's grandfather, the one that was in prison. And Jennifer Beals is Maurice's girlfriend, and Jill Clayburgh is soon gonna be Roger Hannon's girlfriend, who you meet later on in the movie. Bringing up the guy that gets drunk at the bar mitzvah. The guy that gets drunk at the bar mitzvah, his name is Raul Davila. If you're into soap operas, you probably know him from All My Children. He played Hector Santos. I don't really watch that show, so I know I could describe. He's got like black hair, big glasses, mustache, kind of chubby. I think he's actually dead nowadays too. So since he got drunk and made an ass of himself, he goes to a church, but then he gets gunned down by a bunch of assassins in a school bus. And then soon after that Maurice finds out about the death, and he's given a chicken head to show that he died. And then after that, we sort of cut to Maurice's cousin Roland, played by French singer Gerard Darman. It's funny though, another actor that a lot of horror fans particularly might know is Roland's assistant. His name is Joseph in the movie. It's like this bald man, a bald black guy. He has a goatee. And his name is Nick Savage. Now, I'm sure a lot of you probably know him from Friday the 13th Part 3. He's the guy, one of the bikers. He sort of holds up Shelly in the gas station. Then he's the gangbanger outside when Shelly hits the motorcycles, and he bashes the window out, and later on in the movie he jumps after Jason but gets his hand cut off. You know that guy, that black guy, that gangbanger dude? He's Gerard Darman's assistant Joseph in this movie. You know his name, he's on IMDb, they did not credit all the character names. Like Joseph wasn't Nick Savage wasn't credited in that movie on IMDb. A lot of people in this movie were cut out of the IMDb page for some reason, which I did not understand. So you pretty much have one of Maurice's mafia partners. His name is Eric Lemonnier. It's this bald guy. He goes over there to talk to Gerard Darman Roland, the cousin, about, bringing in cocaine into Miami, since that's where the movie takes place. And pretty much what he does is he puts like cocaine on the bottom of a barge, and then once it gets to Miami, they stash it inside mattresses. Like that, and that's what his plan is. And then after a while, you finally see Christopher Walken's character, who's like I don't know, he's just another drug lord, if you want to call him that Maurice goes to. He wants to become his partner. Tries to agree. He wants he wants an equal share of the $10 million, like $5 million that they're gonna give to Gerard Darman's character, and like the $5 million they're gonna get. Gerard Darman's character, like, they don't really refer to him as Roland too much in the movie. They always call him the Indian for some reason. Kind of looks like it too. He's like wearing white shabby clothes. He's got like puffy gray hair. No, just looks like an Indian, I guess. I don't know if that's the real reason or not. So, but well, eventually later on in the movie, once they have all the cocaine stashed inside the mattresses, Eric Lemonnier, Maurice's partner, finds out, and he goes to Roland with a shotgun for some reason. I don't know why all of a sudden he turned against him. Joseph, Nick Savage from Friday the 13th Part 3, is sort of like hanging on this chain on the ceiling. And once Lemonnier and Roland both get into Roland's pickup, it's a pickup truck, it's got like all the mattresses in the back. Joseph jumps down from the ceiling from the chain he was hanging on, and he strangles Lemonnier. But right before Lemonnier dies, he takes the shotgun and shoots it up through the roof of the truck. And, you know, it pretty much kills Joseph, but he's also killed at, like, the same moment he fires the shot. So they both die. Guess that's 2 movies that Nick Savage dies in. Roland's brother, Eli Batoon. Eli and Roland are thinking about going away, like, on a trip, like, to live their own lives on their own. So he has Eli testify against Maurice in court, and Maurice is sent to jail. He gets out for $800,000, which is probably well over what he has, because Maurice lives in, like, this big house all alone. It's got, like, this really big pool. It's like a really big beach estate type thing. You can tell the guy's rich, because back at the beginning at the bar mitzvah, it's a huge party. They even had, like, fireworks and all that kind of stuff. There's this one character in the movie that, I don't know why, he's like, I sort of found him as a really odd. It's this character. His name was, something like, is like Verdugo or something like that. I think it was Gene Verdugo or something like that. I know the actor's name is Christian Filat, or Filet, however. It's a French guy. I don't really know what he is. I just remembered reading the name at the end credits of the movie. It's this guy. He's got, like, short gray hair and a mustache, or like a Fu Manchu. And he does not have one line of dialogue in the whole movie. I don't know if that's on purpose or what. He's the guy that's killing most of the people. He's just like this mute guy. He always wears a suit with the mustache and gray hair. He's seen with Christopher Walken a lot. And pretty much Raymond Batoon, the one that got out of prison, eventually is with his business drug partners, Albert and Sammy. They both, sorry, I ran out of memory. But I was talking about how Raymond has these partners named Albert and Sammy. I think one of them, Albert, lives, but Sammy gets killed, if I remember right. Because I don't remember Albert getting killed, but Sammy gets tossed out of a helicopter by Verdugo, or however you say his name. And then after that, you know, Christopher Walken and his boys kidnap Maurice since he didn't have the drugs, you know, the $5 million for him and the $5 million back to him like they promised at sort of like near the beginning of the movie. So they kidnap Maurice. Albert finds out. So Raymond starts to take matters into his own hands and eventually goes to see, well, before he goes to see Roland, he's sitting like at this desk where Eli comes in and shoots himself. So Eli dies because he felt too guilty about what he did with Maurice. So since him and Roland were real close, they put Eli's body on the island where Roland lives, and they cover a cloth over it. Raymond goes to visit Roland. Roland sees the body. He starts, you know, like crying and all that stuff since they were really close. So eventually Raymond gets, since originally at the beginning of the movie Roland wanted to kill Maurice because of this flashback you see. Because of this flashback you see from, I'm guessing, the first movie where Roland is stabbed in the... Sorry about my cat. Where Roland gets stabbed in the back and is left out in the rain when Maurice pretty much drives away. He wanted to kill Maurice with the help of Eli, but eventually Raymond convinces him to switch sides and help him rescue Maurice, which I guess is where the title Day of Atonement comes from. So Roland rigs his truck with a bunch of explosives, keeping the cocaine and all the mattresses, and they go out to where Pasco, Christopher Walken, is hiding, and eventually everybody gets into like this big fight, and Maurice gets taken to like this beach where Verdugo and Roland are, and he starts trying to fight Roland, but eventually they sort of make up. But right as like they make up with each other, Verdugo shoots Maurice in the back, killing him. So when Verdugo and Roland are driving back, Roland starts shooting at Verdugo, and eventually Verdugo shoots him too, like in the shoulder, but he eventually like shoots Verdugo and kills him, and he falls off. And then, you know, Gerard Darman keeps driving towards the place when, like, Raymond is talking to Christopher Walken about stuff, and Christopher Walken's like, "Hombre, you're always gonna end up on one side of a gun or the other. Fuck you." So I guess that angers Raymond or something like that. So Raymond shoots Christopher Walken like 5 times in the chest, which kills him. And then everybody, like all the guards and stuff, start firing at Roland's truck. So Raymond like looks at Roland like in this really suspicious way. Roland like sees him, like sort of like smiles and winks at him, then like flips a switch inside of his truck. His truck blows up. It explodes, like all the drugs blow up. Roland, you know, obviously is probably dead now because, you know, he just blew the whole truck up. The police show up, and they pretty much take all the remaining guards that were not killed away. And the movie pretty much ends with Alexandre Aja's character, you know, Maurice's son, and Raymond, Alexandre Aja's grandfather, in the movie at Maurice's grave. You got this narrator in the movie, too, that's like, "But Raymond was wrong. He forgot that God's clock doesn't tick like ours. When the payoff comes, God takes lives." And, you know, it was something like that. I don't know, some stupid narration like that. And then, like, they're walking off. Raymond and Alexandre Aja are walking off into the distance, sort of like by walk by Maurice's home, and then it pretty much ends. It's not really given clear what happens to Jennifer Beals after Maurice gets killed. She leaves him in the middle of the movie, but then comes back to him once he gets out of prison. Jill Clayburgh sort of disappears. I don't really know what happens to her. And so it pretty much ends with Raymond and Alexandre Aja are the only 2 survivors. Everybody else in the movie pretty much gets killed. This is a good mob movie. I like it. It is like any other mob movie you've seen. It's pretty much the same as all of the other ones. Like, it's pretty much like any, like, Goodfellas or Mobsters or anything like that. It's really just, like, the same as those. It is kind of, it's 127 minutes long. It's 2 hours and 7 minutes. There are some slow moments in it. You know, there's a lot of scenes of people talking, negotiations, that kind of stuff. I'm sorry about my cats here. They're a real pest. So, there's a lot of slow, but there's good action scenes in there. You know, it had a lot of common people that you might know, like, you know, Nick Savage, Raul Davila, Christopher Walken, Jennifer Beals, Jill Clayburgh, Alexandre Aja, especially since he's like considered a master of horror now, and he was acting and stuff like this. I think he was in this though because Alexandre Aja's father, Alexandre Arcadi, is the director. I actually own the soundtrack to this movie on CD by Romano Musumara. You know what else Romano Musumara composed? Romano Musumara composed the music to Faceless. And I love the music for Faceless. I love those songs, like by Vincenzo Toma, that they play in there. But, so I own the really rare CD by Romano Musumara. It's over there, like on that CD rack. But, you know, if you could hold out